let's hope that this week, Jerry, our sound is better than it was last week.
Yeah, we set the bar pretty low, but that is a good thing to shoot for.
It was terrible. Guys, thanks for joining us here at Newsworthy. Got a lot of cool, exciting changes coming up. We'll cover all that later. Just want to start out the show. A couple little things to clean up, and then we're going to get straight into it today because it's kind of a special episode for us. The first thing is we certainly want to apologize for the sound quality of last episode. Last episode, I tried to listen to it after and we published it, and it was almost unlistenable. So if you found your way and forced your way to go through it, thank you. We apologize for how terrible it sounded. It was not a good thing for us. But
hopefully we got it fixed.
Exactly. Secondly, had an opportunity last week for some call-in action, and that's not something we really want to do on this show live, especially because we do go live. We publish live. We don't go back and generally redo things in post-production. We can. If
people are interested, reach out to us.
Yeah.
And we certainly can do that.
But we need to know what we're going to be talking about prior, because this is a family-friendly show. So we try to watch our language. We want to make sure we're talking about topics that are good for everybody and our entire audience. So that's just kind of wanted to clear the air with that and just say it wasn't a matter of us not being interested in hearing what you have to say. We certainly are, but just kind of reach out to us. You can reach out to us on our email, on our text line, and we'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about prior. Maybe make a whole episode about it, if it's a good thing. So we just want to cover that. I do know I listen to a lot of live podcasts here on Podbean. And there's a lot of people that allow call-ins whenever they're live, and they just kind of roll with it. But those shows are all R-rated or rated for adults only, and ours just isn't.
You'd almost have to be if you're going to allow call-ins on a live show.
So it's just something we talked about over this last week, and we decided we're just not going to do that. So
again, if you have something you'd like to cover, reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. And we absolutely probably will, as long as we think that it's interesting and was something that would go with the theme of our show, which basically is, I know we strayed off from it somewhat, but the theme of our show is let's examine different news articles that are being covered in the mainstream media, and does it need more or less? Yeah, that's a good-looking pumpkin roll there.
Yeah, Mochi's Munchies just sent me that.
Oh, my goodness. Right time of the year for it, too.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. So anyway, that's what we want to do. We just wanted to cover that. I didn't want anybody to feel like we were just ignoring them or didn't want to chat with them. We just, being live and being adult-rated, we would have to change our ratings on all of the places that we do podcasting, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We'd have to change all of that to allow for adult speak, and we just don't want to do that. So, hey, Double's here, Mochi's here. How about them cats is here?
Double.
We're all here. So glad that everybody's here. Tonight's show is going to be a little different. Our programming is going to be a lot different starting next week, right? Next week we're starting. Next week's December, yeah.
Well, the first week of the month we typically did that anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
basically,
we plan on expanding that.
We're going. So what we've decided to do, and we're just following the numbers here, guys. And if we stray from what you feel is a good show, let us know. You can send us an email. You can use the text line. Speaking of the text line, having dinner with a potential investor in our podcast next Wednesday. It's going to be
Very
exciting.
nice.
Yeah. Also, but what we're going to do is we're going to, over the course of December, is we're going to transition to doing headlines the first, and then we're going to pick it up a second week, and then do our regular air quotes here show for 2 weeks. And then starting in January, we're going to do a special in-depth episode on the first show of the month, and then the rest of the week we're doing all headlines.
Rest of the month.
So
Kind of the opposite of what it is now.
kind of the exact opposite. And the reason we're doing that is, we very much enjoy that format. We like it.
We do.
Jerry and I do. And secondly, the numbers bear out that that's what you guys want us to do. So there you go. So anyway, welcome to Newsworthy. We're glad you're here. Jerry, how do you reach us? Not with your fingers. You stay on that side.
Not with the fingers?
You stay on that side. You and your short time.
I got you. Well, we have a couple of ways. One is the email, newsworthy with stephenjerry@gmail.com, and the other is their text line at area code 540-709-1318.
Yeah. Stokes. So how was your week, Jerry?
It was good, better than last week. Not so terrible.
I mean, you can only have your boy announcing run for president, once.
Yeah.
Once a year. So
I was happy to hear in several different news shows that I have either saw or read in the last week that there's more and more Republicans who are saying, you know what, maybe Trump is not the right way to go. So there's hope. There's hope for the party.
Well, Mike Pence was asked directly about that on a CNN show, believe it or not, that he was on last week, and he was asked that question: "Hey, would you run again if Trump asked? Would you run with Donald?" And his answer was very, very telling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, telling in the fact that it lends me to believe that Mike Pence is also going to think about seriously running for president.
Oh, well, he's said that for a long time. What was his answer, though?
His answer was, I think that while it was, I'm going to butcher the quotes here, but it was something basically to the fact, I was very honored to have had the opportunity and was a very wonderful time in his life. It didn't end well, which is obvious. But he feels that the country and the GOP need to move forward as opposed to moving back.
Totally agree with him, man.
So
I've always very much liked Mike Pence. I think he's a very good guy. I think he has very good morals. I think he's the opposite of Donald Trump. I really do. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. He's very soft-spoken. He's very, and I wouldn't have thought this 4 years ago, but he's very much a politician.
He is. And I would also say that he is not charismatic enough to be the right GOP nominee. I like the guy personally. I do not think he is the right guy because, again, he's so soft-spoken. He's so vague. He's so much a politician that I don't think he's going to generate a lot of interest. Don't know. I hope the GOP doesn't run him.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sure he will. That'll all shake itself out. So we are doing something today, Jerry. And, I'm not going to talk about my week. My week's been just crammed busy. I've been so busy.
That's a good thing.
I've not really had an opportunity to have a week. So we'll just skip past my week. But
okay.
We are doing something today that is so different than what we usually do.
Have ever done.
Is that a tear? Is that a little tear in on your face that I see?
Don't have a mirror in front of me, but I would not at all be surprised to find that the sorrow is leaking out of my eyes.
Now, you say sorrow. Do you not like it?
It's not that.
It's
when
just
it comes to our drink, there have always been three words that we have used to define it.
Yeah.
A cold, sweet red.
Yeah.
Well, today we're not drinking a cold, sweet red. We're drinking cold.
It's cold.
It's relatively sweet.
It's pretty sweet.
It is not red.
It is very the opposite of red. Tonight we are drinking, for the folks at home, Stella Rosa Stella Peach.
Stella Peach.
And that's an homage to my Georgia folks. I love Georgia. I've always said that, or recently have started saying anyway, that if I could live anywhere else, I'd live in Georgia. I love it down there. They grow a lot of peaches. They got good tea.
They do.
And apparently Stella Rosa reached out to them and made some good peach wine because this is fantastic.
Don't care for it.
You don't like it?
It's got an aftertaste that I could just, yeah. The
That's
least
okay.
favorite wine of all the wines we've tried.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I'll just slide the bottle toward me then.
You
I'll
take the rest. I'll be more than fine with that. I've got plenty of Daseki in the refrigerator. So
There you
I'll
go.
be
I got
okay.
one of those too.
There you
What
go.
does that tell you?
Double-fisted drinker.
What's that tell you about my week?
Yeah. Double-fisted drinker. Talking about your week, did you hear anything from the pastor of the church with your paranormal experience at the church,
Yeah.
the teen center? Did you hear anything back from him?
No, I tried to call again. I got the same message, and I think I told you. I think I'm just going to drive up there and see if I can talk to somebody.
Maybe what you have to do to actually talk to them, huh?
Yeah, because you leave messages, and you when you're speaking of such a thing, it has to be a vague message.
And they're probably wondering, who is this person?
Yeah.
Are they a devil worshiper?
Right. So if I
it's a
just go
pastor of the
meet them,
church.
if I just go meet them, I think that would go a long way
Maybe.
to helping that along. And I'll try to get that done this week. I know
Speaking
I'm
of
busy.
paranormal, speaking of ghosts, do you know why ghosts are bad liars?
Well,
Because you can see right through them. Maybe if you explain that to the pastor, he'll be more than happy to tell you the true history of the place.
Oh man, jeez. Well, I started a new hobby last week.
Hobbies are always good.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool hobby. It's basically it's bow and arrow shooting, archery with a blindfold.
With a
Have you
blind.
tried it?
I never have.
Well, you wouldn't know what you're missing.
I'm sure that is 100% accurate. What was the name of the boy back that we read about when we were in second or third grade who stood underneath the tree with the apple on his head and the guy shot the arrow through the apple?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Really? You weren't told this story in school, huh? I'll
No.
be darned.
We got to. You got to.
By the way,
what?
early segue with our Thanksgiving thankful. I'm glad that I didn't have somebody shooting an arrow off the top of my head to begin with. Furthermore, I'm glad that if that had have happened, that the guy wasn't blindfolded.
Well, I mean, your head kind of looked like an apple. So
That's when you look at Apple then.
would it actually been a miss? That's my problem there.
Ouch. I see how you're going to be. So, tell me, please, that you have a recipe this week.
I do have a
For the
recipe.
last three.
I have
Awesome.
a recipe this week.
Good
Are
for
you
you.
excited?
I'm
I tried it Saturday because it was super easy. Okay.
Those are all, that's always
Yeah,
easy.
this has like 5 ingredients. I actually thought about making it for tomorrow. I just don't have time. But, okay, so here's the recipe. I don't know what it's called. Okay, we'll just start
Give
with
it a name.
Uh,
Every recipe needs a name.
Jerry's Apples.
There you go. Jerry's apples.
All right, so Jerry's Apples, real simple. Crock pot. 2 cans of apple pie filling.
Dump it in.
Dump it in. 2 cans of cinnamon rolls cut into corners. Dump them in.
Okay.
About
What do you do with the icing? Don't say
no,
throw-
hang on.
Okay.
We gotta
As
hang
long
on.
as we don't throw it away. I'm
hang
fine
on
with
now.
whatever.
In fact, I would actually. William Tell. That was the story you were talking about. Look at
Yeah.
Double Go.
Yeah.
You'll see why not peaches in just a second.
Okay.
I was talking to Mochi. So use sugar-free apples because this is going to be super sweet if you don't. So what you do is you dump the apples, you dump the sugar-free apples, you dump the 2 cans of cinnamon rolls cut into quarters, about a half to 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. Okay? Take a spatula, stir all that up real good. Okay? Sprinkle it with just a little bit of brown sugar and a little bit more cinnamon. Close the crock pot, cook it for 3 hours on high. First of all, your house is going to smell
I'm sure you would.
amazing. Then, as it's getting done, you open the 2 packs of icing that you have, and you sprinkle that on top too. You just swirl it on there. Pull it out. It's hot. You dupe a big 1 or 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream, and you have a dessert that will literally melt in your mouth and is delicious.
Change your life. With a name like Jerry's Apples, how could it not?
True, I suppose.
You sound rather doubtful. You've actually made the recipe.
True fact. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I got you.
Sounds like a very good recipe.
It is a good recipe, and I am now. It's your turn next week, right?
I thought you were going to do 3 in a row.
I'm just kidding.
I could do one. I was ready to do one tonight.
Would you had doubt? You doubted me?
Absolutely. After the last 3 weeks.
Well, don't do it now. Save it.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. I'll never give it out.
Oh.
It's the dessert that I made tonight, tiramisu. It's okay, just not as good as I'd expected it to be. I've loved tiramisu for years. Tonight for the first time in my life, made homemade tiramisu and was not that impressed. It's good. But once again, I asked you the other day about pumpkin pie, and your answer was very truthful, very honest. And you said, I rarely, if ever, homemake it. Yep. I just go to the store and buy one. You said it's just as cheap as
Marie Callender
much
makes
easier.
A mean pumpkin pie.
And I'm beginning to think maybe the same is true with tiramisu. What I've had in stores and restaurants, I think it was as good or better than what I made.
The tiramisu you got from Kroger that one time was pretty darn good.
It wasn't bad.
It was pretty darn good.
That's not even the real stuff. That's not made with ladyfingers.
Right.
It's not soaked in the espresso coffee and the Marsala wine or rum. But you're right. It's good.
It was pretty darn good.
That it is.
All right. So let's just jump into our topic today. We usually do a topic rundown, but today,
pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to be talking about things that you, the listener, and us have to be thankful for. We're going to start with just the old school tale of why we supposedly
the origins of Thanksgiving.
The origins of Thanksgiving. And we're telling this tale mainly because it's what's always been taught. It's about the furthest thing from the truth as you can possibly get. We're not going to get into those details.
But it was a nice romanticized version of
very
history.
Romanticized.
Exactly.
But basically pilgrims come over to the New World. They're starving to death. They make friends with the Indians. The Indians feed them. They have a big feast to join them together and to celebrate the fact that all is here and all is well.
And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah, until until we didn't. Now that's the typical story that people tell second graders, first graders, kindergartners. They have the Puritans with the little buckle boots and all that. Yep. And the truth of that is so far removed from what we teach. It's almost, we shouldn't teach that anymore, I think, to be blunt. But what it has become, in my eyes anyway, in the way I view it, is an opportunity to look at our lives and look at how blessed and how many things we have to be thankful for.
Very true.
And it doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk and you're a multi-billionaire or me who's struggling 2 jobs to make ends meet, or we're doing, or us as podcasters. It doesn't matter if you're unemployed or you're in a hospital. There are things in your life you have to be thankful
for. Many
things. And that is why I've always really liked this holiday. To me, it's all of, and for a lot of the folks, it's a time to get together with family that's not burdened, if you will, with gift giving. It's not brought down by commercialization. Thanksgiving gets 2 days in Walmart. They get like a little, like one aisle of Thanksgiving stuff.
And it's not even really Thanksgiving. It's fall.
It's fall. most
right?
of the time. Yeah.
Yes, it's
So,
fall. A little bit of it, small portion is actually Thanksgiving. Totally, absolutely agree. I also think that being thankful is a state of mind. When you find people who say they don't have things to be thankful for, or maybe just never express it, we all have, as you were saying, many things to be thankful for. We all also have problems. Now, it's up to each and every one of us to decide which one we want to focus on.
yeah.
And when you see those people in your life, and we all know them, those people who every single time you see them look like they've been sucking on lemons for a week, it's obvious that those people have made the decision to focus on the problems of life.
Yeah. Those are not my people, by the way.
Who wants to be around people like that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing, it's a short paragraph.
Sure. No,
When we started talking about this, it reminded me of something that showed up on my Facebook feed several years ago, back when I actually used Facebook. Did a little research and found it. You probably heard it. And it goes like this. If you have food in your fridge, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you're richer than 75% of the world. If you have money in the bank, your wallet, some spare change, you're among the top 8% of the world's wealthiest people. If you woke up this morning with more health than illness, you're more blessed than the 1 million people who will not survive this week. If you've never experienced the danger of battle, the agony of imprisonment or torture, or the horrible pains of starvation, you're luckier than 500 million people who are alive and suffering. If you can read this message, you're more fortunate than the 750 million people in the world who cannot read at all. Now, after that, it's not quite so hard to be thankful, is it?
That's true. That's true. Absolutely. Mochi, or I'm sorry, Double called me out. She thought I was promoting Walmart. Listen, I actually was going to say this is going to be my last part of the show, so I'm going to go ahead and move that up, just so you know. Walmart doesn't need your money. Target doesn't need your money. Tomorrow or Friday, when you get ready to go Black Friday shopping, your small local businesses in your local town owned by people that live in your town need your money. Those are the people that will put that money directly back into your community. Those are the people that your kids go to school with, and those are the people that help give your kids or grandkids jobs in your community. So by all means, if you can, if you have the ability, please, please, please shop your locally owned businesses first before you. And as a realtor, I do that all the time. I would much rather use a local person for my loans if I can get competitive. My clients' needs come first, obviously, but I would much rather use a local person for our closing procedures, for whatever we can do. So by all means, come Friday, after your belly's full and you're getting ready to go do all that shopping, shop, local. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry. Didn't mean to go off on that, but I did want to bring that up.
It's a very good point.
Yeah. And I've always believed that, and sometimes, if you're in a specific situation, maybe that's a hard thing to do. But if you're not, that's what you should do, I think. But anyway,
I agree.
So, Jerry, I think we're going to save what we are. I have so much to be thankful for. I'm going to take like a good chunk at the end of the show just to run through it.
Okay.
Just so you know, yeah, we'll just get to that. But I did ask on Facebook, and we asked last week on the show for people to send in stuff that they're thankful for, and that I wanted to get that on the air. This is and we didn't talk about this, but starting today, tomorrow, and through the rest of the season is probably some of the hardest times for some of the weakest people. And by weak, I don't mean they're less than. I mean that they're struggling, that they're having a hard time getting, the help that they need, or that they're having mental issues and they don't have the right, this is a very hard time for a lot of people.
I've read that there's a ton of people who have mental issues at this time of the year that don't for the rest of the year.
Right.
Emotionally, mentally, this for a lot of people is a very tough time of the year.
Very, very difficult time. And, I asked for people, because, and I'll just read the post that I put, because I think I put it pretty clean. And not tooting my own horn, but sometimes I come up with a good thing again, every now and again, right? But basically, I just said that our podcast is heard in over 20 countries and in all the United States. Your reason for thanks can be an inspiration or a breath of fresh air for someone who's struggling to find something good. Sometimes we get so bogged down in the bad, we can't see the good until somebody points it out to us. And they could do that right here on our podcast. The holidays are really hard back to the post, the holidays are really hard for some who are looking for a reason just to keep going. Your reason for thanks, regardless of how big or how little, could motivate or encourage or let somebody know just how far they've come from where they were. Don't be shy, and then let me know why you're thankful. I have several and plenty more to share. I just feel that if you are thankful for a particular spot in your life, and there's another person that's just ahead of you, but didn't realize that they weren't last, that helps. There's just so many different ways that people's words can motivate people further.
Sure.
So I just wanted to point that out. So that's why I was really thankful for all the responses we got. And I'm going to try to get through all of them today, plus what we got to do. We're already 30 minutes in.
Yes, we are.
Wow. This thing goes too fast. Why are you being so quiet?
I'm listening.
Oh, well, stop.
Stop listening?
Yeah, start talking. I got to drink some of this wine since you're making me drink it all.
You can drink all the rest of it. I don't know what it is. There's an aftertaste to it.
There is a bit of an aftertaste.
And I don't like it. Stella Rosa, yeah, I still love you. You're one of my favorite all-time wines, but not Stella Peach. Again, as far as I'm concerned, we got to stay with the big three, bud. It's got to be sweet. It's got to be cold. It's got to be red.
Yep.
We veered from that, and all I have to say, as far as I'm concerned, lesson learned. I'll not be doing that again. So you want to lead off?
Sure. I'll just lead off with a couple of the things that people commented, and because I feel like that's the people that commented. First of all, I want to thank you because that, just as we just discussed, that could help somebody.
Sure.
And I am beyond. What's the word
Grateful.
I'm looking for? Grateful for that. Yes, thank you. I'm trying to find it. Sorry, I had to all right here in my book, and I lost it.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to start with one, and I'm going to throw several things together. And I don't want you to mistake what I'm saying. It's not that they're not important. The basics. When you're talking about things to be thankful for, if anyone has a list, these are going to be on almost everyone's list. Family, friends, health, home. No, those, I'm not trying to take away from the meaning. Those are the foundation of life. Without these
Absolutely.
things, life has little meaning. I'm not going to spend that much time on them because, again, they're on everyone's list. I do have to say that I have a wonderful daughter who's given me two of the greatest grandsons in the history of the world. By the way, totally unbiased opinion there.
Yeah,
obviously.
I got a pretty great good daughter too.
There you go.
I wouldn't tell her that to her face because she'd get the big head. She's like me. She wouldn't be able to walk through a room.
Well, maybe she'd never listen to the show and will never hear this. Who knows?
Maybe.
But anyway, I wanted to start off with that, but being first because they certainly should be first. Family, friends, health, home, all of those things. You can't have a list of what you're thankful for without including the most important things. So, yeah.
That's good. So I got a few, and I just locked this. Let's unlock this. So James L., who lives here in Kentucky.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a funny story about James L. in a minute.
On air? Off air?
No, we'll do it on air.
Okay.
I don't think he'll care. I think he'll be all right.
Well, we're just not like we're saying James Logan at
Yeah.
117 Elm Street in Frankfurt. Yeah.
James says he says in this, he says, I'm thankful that God always has a plan, even when I can only see the mountain in front of me. He sees the path to lead me through. And coming from James, that makes my heart so happy. And I'll tell you why. And here's why. Because James was away from God for a long time. And that was my fault. And what I mean by that is we went to college together, and James was very religious, and I was not. I was in a very dark place because I was hurt from that old church I went to 20 years ago. Yeah, at this time, hell, it's 40 years ago now. Was very hurt. And I projected that hurt to James, and to the point that made him think that I was right and he was wrong. And for him to come back full circle, that makes me so happy. Because awesome. I would hate for that to have been the case and me be the reason for that. There's a very specific line, if you believe in the Bible, that happens to people who are stumbling blocks in that way. I didn't know that at the time, but I do now. So that really made me very, very happy with that. Oh, excuse me. That wine. Whew.
The aftertaste?
No, I just
okay.
Yeah. Mindy R., also thankful for Jesus. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We don't often cover religion as religion on our show. We do it if it's contextual, if there's something we need to pull out of it to bring into our show, but we don't go down that
path. We've made a conscious decision.
We did.
It's not that we are anti-religion.
No.
It's that we believe in freedom of religion. We also believe this is not the right form to get real religious.
Right.
If we had said that we're a religious podcast, great. Yeah. But when we claim to be,
we try to be very unbiased,
and we're news-based,
yeah,
and we're not religion-based. So we have chosen to stay away from what, if you're not really careful, becomes an extremely divisive subject.
Right.
And we also don't think that if we did try to bring up religion a lot,
we're not going to convince other people. No, in an hour podcast, we're not going to convince the average person that
who's here to listen to some news.
Right. That's not what we're going to do. But, if and tonight it's a contextual thing because our listeners have brought it up.
To me, it would be really hard if you have anything religious in you at all. It would be very difficult to come up with a list of things you're thankful for and to totally exclude religion completely from that list.
Yeah, I know.
It would be hypocritical.
It would. It would indeed.
The next one for me is debatable. I find that hard to believe, but I'm told that according to some, it's very, very debatable.
The fact that you're wrong
on
most things?
I'm thankful that I'm not stupid.
That is debatable.
Which is the one thing that we don't have a pill for. We have a pill for everything, right? Another thing I'm thankful for. We don't have one for stupidity.
Okay. Why do you say that you're grateful you're not stupid?
Because I'm not stupid.
Okay. That was it?
That's pretty much it. I have a lot of issues in life. Stupidity is not one of them. I'm not saying I'm a genius. I'm far from that.
So
wouldn't say that I'm stupid.
So So you're happy that you don't fall into the John Wayne quote,
which was,
"Life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid."
I thought you were going to prove me the way when you first started that. I started this off by saying that this is debatable. And I thought you were going to make it very debatable.
No. Terry, you were by far one of the smartest people I've ever met. To be
not at all. Just thankful that I'm not stupid.
I try very hard just to keep up. Just for the folks out there to know it's
not true.
My whole job to try to keep up with you.
What do you have next?
The next one also means a great deal to me. And with that, I won't go into details because I don't know how that would be brought. But I am going Jennifer L.
Okay.
says that she is grateful for her sobriety date of 1/17/2019, and for the family that stood by her and didn't give up on her.
Amen.
And that really warms my heart, and that makes me very happy.
And it should.
Yeah.
And I happen to know this one. Yeah. We're all very proud of you, girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was so many ways that could have went the other way,
And probably, yeah, somewhere along the line, you begin to think it probably is going to go the other way.
Exactly.
But we're so proud it didn't. By the way, one quick point: Steve is covering all this great stuff that was sent to him. I was put in charge of covering the things that was sent to the text line, and since you guys chose to send absolutely nothing to the text line, I'm now covering the things that I'm thankful for. Yeah, I just started reading a new book, by the way. You ever read John Grisham? You a John Grisham fan?
I've read every John Grisham.
The Boys from Biloxi.
Yep.
Have you read it?
Yep.
Okay. I hadn't just now started it.
Love it.
I love the book. I love Grisham books. I also love John Patterson, Stephen King. There's several authors I like.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for good books.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually reading the one you gave me.
Really?
Yeah, I'm about
Good.
2 chapters in. I just got started. But
Nice.
And what was that, Jerry? Do you remember the title?
Heaven is Real, I
Yep.
think.
Heaven is Real. And it's very, very good. But yes, John Grisham is by far one of my favorite writers. I like John Grisham, Stephen King. The Stand is my all-time favorite book.
Have you read the complete unabridged version?
Yes.
It's like 1,100 pages.
Yes.
One of the best books I've ever
And
read.
every time I read it, I always end up getting
I
the
didn't know you
flu.
like that.
Oh, I
Really?
love it. Yeah. Captain Tripp's disease. That's pretty crazy. If you haven't read The Stand and you like anything Stephen King, The Stand is where to go.
It is. Don't watch the movie. You can watch it later. Read the book first.
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself.
The Stand, I love that. Pretty much I like anything. The only series by Stephen King I haven't read, and it's not because I haven't tried, it's because I can't get through them, is the Gunslinger series. They start so slowly, and it's very, very hard for me to get through a book that starts slowly like that. So my other favorite book, you're not going to believe this, Jerry, is The Chariots of the Gods by Von Däniken.
I do believe that.
I tell you another great author, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I
no.
apologize. And for
Goes
our
along
listeners,
with what I was going to go to. So
for our other authors, my newest, favoritist, bestest author
of all timest.
of all timest is Christopher Moore. If you want to read a book that will leave you literally in stitches, given what it's about, that's kind of a funny pun. Read A Dirty Job by Christopher Moore. Fantastic. Or The Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove. That's also really good. Sorry, you got me off on books.
I was simply going to say, if you're looking for a good author, there's a website that I love. The website is literature-map.com. literature-map.com. When you go there, it'll ask you to input the name of a favorite author. I put in John Grisham. Look at some of the people it thinks that I might like. Literaturemap.com.
Well, that's weird.
What's weird about it?
I mean, it's just
First of all, start at the closest to him.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And spread out from there.
Okay.
Begins to
Because
make
it's
a
got
lot of
Clive
sense.
Cussler on there, and I'm not a fan of Clive Cussler. at all.
Totally love Clive Cussler.
Really?
Absolutely love it.
Wow.
Very good. It's got a ton. There's probably 40 or 50 names. But the point is, if you're looking for a new favorite author, spend 30 seconds, literature-map.com, put in one or two of your favorite authors and see if it comes up with some people. Then who knows? Maybe you might like it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I've gotten into where I read a lot of Kentucky history stuff now. I'm into history books more than, which is really weird, and real estate books, but that goes with the program, I guess. So my next one was sent to me by Shania H., and she says that she is thankful for rocks given to her by friends and for grace, neither of which that she deserves. And having known her she deserves that and so much more. Just want to throw that out there. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm thankful for dad jokes. I'm also thankful that for a huge portion of my life, I've been able to spend it smiling, laughing, and being happy.
well, you've been my friend. So I mean, for a big portion of your life.
Yeah, of course, there for a long time, we were a couple states apart. Come to think of it, I probably was smiling a lot more that time period. Just joking. That's it. I'm just thankful that I've been
Wait, you
able
were
to be
thankful
happy.
for dad jokes, or you were
I'm
thankful,
thankful for
because
dad
I
jokes,
was so
which
far
leads
away?
into the smiling, which leads into the happiness, which leads to the laughter. I'm happy that I've been able to spend a large portion of my life being very happy. I've never understood depression. I never have. It's hard for me when I hear about people being depressed. I don't get it. I don't understand it. To me, it's like, oh, why don't you
You're
think
that
about
guy.
happy thoughts?
Yeah.
I've never been depressed. I've never suffered from that. Thank goodness, because I don't think I deal with it well at
I
all.
can fix that for you if you like. I could just leave right now,
Oh.
and you would and never call you. You'd be very sad.
I thought you was going to give me a mirror.
That would work too. I'm just kidding. Well,
No, you're not. I brought it up. I said it.
a lot of people equate what you just said with the other. Sadness equate into depression. Depression is a mental illness. It's not a what's the word? It's not an emotion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the difference. And I'm with you. It's very difficult. I never have been a depressed person.
So
I've
it's hard
always-
to understand.
It's very difficult to
It's
understand.
not that I look down, demean it. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because I've never really been there.
Yeah. And it's
I'm
one of
thankful
those
for
things. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Because I have friends that have to deal with that through medication and counseling, and it dictates the pace of their life in a lot of ways, and that's not fair, and that sucks. But even
Life isn't fair.
Yeah.
So many ways.
absolutely. So I've said many times on here on the show about what I do part time. I drive a bus. I take people back and forth to doctor's
Medical
appointments and medical appointments and dialysis. And a lot of those folks are beginning to get to know me. They know I'm a realtor. They know I do a podcast. And a lot of times they will ask me, what's the podcast about this week, Steve? Well, one of those guys is Brian. Brian used to do what I do part time. He used to drive the bus years ago. Brian has hit some health issues. He was in a spot where they had to remove one of his legs, and they had just got him a prosthetic, and he had just started walking when they learned he was going to have to take half his other foot. So back to square one for Brian. So, and I told him today that, oh no, double. Don't be sorry for Brian. Don't. Because when I told him yesterday what the podcast was about this week, he's like, do you care if I give you something? And I'm like, no, man, what's up? And Brian says, I just want people to know that I'm thankful that I'm alive.
Still article.
People look at me every day and they're like, how do you maintain such a good positive attitude? And he's like, I'm still on the sunny side of the dirt. I'm still fighting. I'm still going to walk again. And that was so inspiring to me. Here's a man who is younger than me, mid-30s at most, who's just been going through it and just will not give up, refuses to be wallowing in self-pity, refuses to succumb to his circumstance.
Yep.
And he is always looking forward and thankful for what he does have, not what he's lost. So kudos to you, Brian. I appreciate that bit of inspiration for even me.
Absolutely.
That was pretty awesome.
Reminded me a lot of a guy that I hired maybe 20, 25 years ago. His first name was Mike. Mike was such an inspiration for me. At the time, the company that I worked for and the store that I ran was, we'd become affiliated with some job coaches who work with people who had mental issues. And if we agreed to give someone a job, they would come with them until the counselor, the job counselor, and one of the management team would agree that they were no longer needed, that they had gotten this employee to the point that they were capable of doing it on their own. So that was the way we got to meet Mike. We hired him and didn't find out the reason for his mental injuries for a long time. A couple years later, I found out that the issue with Mike was he was an outstanding high school athlete. He was very intelligent. He was really gifted athlete. Played, I don't remember, 3 or 4 different sports. During high school, he began betting on games. There was a local bookie that he began betting with. He wasn't very good at it, apparently. He ran up a considerable debt. 3 or 4 months after he graduated, very, very shortly after he had started college, which he was there on a full ride scholarship, the bookie sent some guys to collect. And apparently he owed quite a bit of money at that point. He was beaten almost to death. He was left for dead. He didn't die, obviously, but he was left with brain injuries that were so significant. 10, 15 years later, the only way he could get a job was through the people that he was associated with. They had job counselors that came and got him a job, and they came. Anyway, long story short, the most positive person I've ever met in my life. Was always smiling, was always in a good mood, always found the bright side of things. It's so inspiring. You're absolutely right. Those people who, at first thought, you think, if there's anyone that has a right to be depressed, it's this guy.
Yeah.
It's this girl, this whoever. I'm sure a lot of us know someone similar. But these people find a way to always find the best of everything. They find a way to stay positive. They find a way to always be in a good mood.
Yeah.
To be happy, to be smiling.
Can I tell a funny story
By all means,
about
please do.
a person similar to that?
Please do.
Okay, so years and years, and we're going back way years. I was just a stock boy at way back when at Kmart in Georgetown.
Okay.
Me and Tony Eckler were sent out to get carts. I mean, we were that young. We were cart getters. And we were, Kmart's were always had the big vestibule, the doors, and then the open spot, and the doors, and then you go in, right?
Right.
So we were coming out of the store, and incoming the store was a lady and another lady who was missing her left arm, gone.
Okay.
And so as we're coming out of the store, they're coming in the store. So we're meeting in the vestibule.
Right.
And this lady, the one missing her arm, looks at her other friend who just said, "Well, how have you been?" And this lady looks at her and says, "Oh my God, this is the funniest thing I've ever done." She says to this other lady, "Well, I don't feel like I'm all here today."
Please tell me you guys didn't crack up laughing.
We fell
in
on the
front
floor. Fell on the floor. So did the lady she was talking to. And that lady who was missing the arm just died. She got 3 birds with 1 stone with that, and she knew it. And I've never laughed so hard in all my life. I bet they heard me clear back at the stock room. I was laughing so hard.
Laughter is a good thing. Laughter is a good thing.
To my dying day, that's going to be one of the funniest things I've ever experienced, because it was just like that. Well, I tell you the truth, I don't feel like I'm all here today.
Good one.
Oh,
Very
gosh.
good. Great dad joke if it wasn't personal and really happened. Right?
It was crazy. It cracked me up.
I think it was episode 2 when you talked about a new invention.
Yeah, episode
2
2.
MIT scientists that built a portable desalinator the size of a briefcase that turns salt water into drinking water.
Correct.
Why is there a need for that? Over 40% of the population of the entire world does not have access to plenty of clean drinking water.
That's crazy. And here we go to the tap and get this whole gallon jug here filled with it.
I'm thankful for clean water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we in America, especially, and to my other folks listening in other countries, I don't say this to rub this in. I don't say this as an elitist, but we have a great deal of freedoms and things that we take for granted in our lives that a lot of countries struggle with on a day-to-day basis.
Very true.
We don't have to, we don't, in America, we don't wallow in trash unless we choose to.
But at the same time, it's obviously a great blessing. But it's become so commonplace that I think we oftentimes forget to give thanks
Exactly.
for many of these things.
Oh, that's exactly. That's
that
what
we
I was
just
bringing
take
it
for
up
granted.
for. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just go to the tap at our
Turn it
kitchen
on.
sink and turn it on. We have water. Anywhere in the country.
Other than Jackson, Mississippi, was it? We told the story about
Or
a few
Flint,
weeks ago.
Michigan, too.
Flint, Michigan, they've had
yeah.
a problem for a while.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
But you're right. 99.9% of America, yes, absolutely.
You know, if we get hit by a car, they're going to take us to a hospital, not a shaman. You know, they're going to do x-rays and they're going to do everything they can do to fix us. We're not just going to lay there and suffer, you know, and it's the amount of blessings our country is given and the amount of things that we take for granted that we should give thanks for every day is we could sit here for 3 years and not cover them all.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Jerry, do you care if what do you, other than, you know, your family and your things, what are you thankful for?
Well, I'm going down my list.
Oh, well, give us the next one because I want to.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of get into mine. Yeah.
Good one,
Sure,
silly one.
a good one.
Good one.
I mean,
Okay.
let's end on a good note. Let's do.
Well, I've
good.
got at least two more I've got to do.
All right, we'll do them.
Hold on, let me scroll down here. I was born in mid-'60s. Growing up in the late 60s, early 70s, I had one set of
1860s.
yeah. I had a set of grandparents that didn't have running water in their house until I was, 10, 12 years old. I remember going to the outhouse on some really cold winter mornings. I'm thankful for indoor plumbing.
Absolutely.
Next one.
Absolutely.
I remember that same outhouse having Sears Roebuck catalogs in them. I don't remember, but I've heard of people using corn cobs.
Ooh.
You know, the old 2 red, 1 white.
Yeah.
The whites to make sure you're through with the reds.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for toilet paper.
Yeah. And just for the record, I use Members Mark toilet paper at Sam's Club. It's the best toilet paper you can buy, just so you know. I think. Not that anyone needs to know, but if you come to my house, that's what you get.
I think he's saying if you want to buy me something for Christmas and you don't know what to get, I can always use.
Absolutely. I'll take it. You know, I never use an outhouse per se. I have used several porta potties. Those things are gross. The worst thing you could ever do is use a porta pot that's been overly used in the middle of summer.
I've been clean.
Woo! That's rough. That's rough. So, I could, just for the things in my life that I'm thankful for, I could sit here for the rest of my life
Sure.
giving thanks for that. Mochi says, now that's a present you can't re-gift after you open it. She's absolutely right. But, you know, we all have things that go up and down in our lives. And again, this is not a religious show, but for me personally, if I don't bring this up, then I'm not doing myself justice.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to project this on anyone else. Everybody has their own path they have to walk. But I am thankful for the trail. And what I mean by that is anybody can go for a walk with another person, and they can walk wherever. And walking is easy. But if you go hiking, it's not so easy. And I want to say, for the record, that I appreciate the hike that I've had with my Lord and Savior. Okay. Spoke earlier to how hurt and burned I was at a church.
Early on.
It cost me 20 years of getting to know what I think we're here to get to know. Okay. Before I realized what would happen. And in that 20 years, a lot of things happened. I had my daughter, had my first son, had all my kids actually within that 20-year period. But when we go hiking, sometimes you walk a little faster than the person you're hiking with, and you have to slow down, wait for them. Sometimes they hike a little faster and they have to slow down, wait for you, or you fall, or they fall, and you got to help each other out. And sometimes, if you're walking with somebody and not really paying attention, they'll let you fall in a trap just so they can help you out, so that you'll listen to them from now on.
Footsteps.
And exactly. And I can't put into words, as I'm my age now, I'm 47, and I look back upon my life, how many times that something happened and I was like, what the, and then a year later I realized what the. It wasn't meant to be in my time. It was meant to be in a different time. But everything that's happened in my life, good, bad, or ugly, has gotten me to where I am right now. And I am just thankful for that walk, for that love, for that guidance, for that. Steve, I know you're going to mess up, but I'm always going to be here to catch you. I'm always going to be here to show you the right way. You just got to listen. We don't get that from other humans that often. So I'm just thankful for my family, obviously. I'm thankful for my children, my grandchildren. You said you had 2 beautiful grandchildren. I've got a metric herd of grandchildren. And I just, I'm thankful for each and every one of them. They're all different. They're all beautiful. They're all everything they're going to be in their own way.
Absolutely.
They're all healthy. And but none of that happens without my walk with Jesus. And I just got to put that out there, because ultimately, to me, that's where the ultimate thanks for me personally has to go. So, that's that.
Very similar to another one that I hadn't gotten to on my list. And I worded it a lot shorter, but
that's because I like to talk.
I wrote, I'm thankful for the valleys in life, because without them, the mountaintops wouldn't seem nearly as high or as majestic.
That's true.
The valleys are where we learn and grow and spend most of our time. It's nice to go up on the mountaintop every once in a while and look down. But if you're there all the time, it loses meaning.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're there all the time.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the valleys.
Yeah.
They help you to appreciate the mountains.
Yep, absolutely.
We have a ton to be thankful for. Some more than others, but we all have a lot to be thankful for. The question is, are we going to stop and spend time and focus on how blessed we truly are? And hopefully at this time of the year, we all will do at least some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So if people want to reach out to us, and how would they do that, Jerry?
Once again, 2 ways. They can do it with email at newsworthywithstephenjerry@gmail.com, or text us at area code 540-709-1318.
Absolutely. And you can do those, either one of those. You can give us show ideas that you'd like to hear, something that you'd like us to change, some constructive criticism. We're good for all that, because
ghost stories.
Ghost stories.
More of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. We're still very new at this. I think this is going to be episode 27, 29? Under 30 episodes. We're still very, very new at this. And we are, I thought you were showing me something. So we value that constructive criticism. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We want to get better for you. So by all means, please do that. If you're traveling this week or over Christmas, please be safe. Take your time. Don't get in a rush. Food's still going to be there. There's going to be so much food out there that it's going to be amazing. So have a great Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week. We'll start talking about other good stuff. Next week is actually headlines.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not the first. It's not December.
Is it not? No. Wow.
What is today?
Today's the 24th.
Oh, is it? Okay, then it would be. I'm thinking today's 23rd. I'm thinking 23rd plus 7, 30th. No, it won't be. But if it's 24th, you're right.
No, it is the 23rd.
Okay. 1 week will be the 30th.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're talking about something, whether it's important or not.
Yeah, give us a topic for us to talk about. It's a 5th week, I think, right?
Correct.
So yeah, we don't have a game plan for 5 weeks. Send us a game plan.
Could be anything.
Yeah, anything. Throw it out there. We'll talk about it. And as we just want to thank you. That's another thing I want to thank. I want to thank people for joining us on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Double's been with us from the beginning. Mochi. Raccoon's one of our newest listeners. We appreciate him. We've had lots of listeners and listener interaction. I don't know. We've got 20 countries, all of the United States at some point. That's freaking amazing. And I'm just thankful that we are able
There's
to.
some bored people around, huh? Just saying.
We're just thankful for you guys because we really enjoy doing this. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have a reason to keep doing it. So
Yeah, we would.
What?
Cold, sweet, red.
Gotcha. Always, guys, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.
have a great night.